Neil Magny. I feel like I get to know you guys so well on the show. And then you go off and you do your thing and I see you on TV and you've been busting your butt. I mean, 3 fights within 5 months. Most guys normally fight 3 times in a year and you're on a roll and you wanted to take this big fight, which we're going to talk about in a second. But first, how are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, 2020 has been a great year for my team and I so far. I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to fight 3 times this year, get 3 wins. My team's been on a roll this year as well. I mean, just had a training partner, Justin Gaethje, fight for a title in UFC. So it's been a pretty good year for the team and I. So we're very fortunate to be where we're at and be able to do what we do every day. So it's definitely a blessing for us.
Yeah. So, listen, let's talk about the Khabib fight for a second. That was emotional for me. And I didn't really understand why I got so emotional, but to see him on the ground, to see his reaction when he won, and he was kind of like he was like, guys, don't react. Don't I thought it was kind of a sign of respect to Gaethje, like let him just kind of get up for a second. And then he got down on the ground and he got emotional. And then I started thinking about all of like the cycle, the roller coaster of emotions that you guys explain so well when you come on the show, how it feels like to win versus lose. Like, yeah, break it down from your perspective.
Man, that can be a super tough one for him. I mean, like to have an entire UFC career play out with your father being your corner and then this be the biggest fight of your life and your father not be able to take part of it with you. I can only imagine what kind of pain he was in at that moment, not being able to share that moment with his father. I had a similar experience last year losing my grandmother. I mean, this is the first year of me doing several things without her, and it's been weird. Like how can I be happy where the person I'm most happy with isn't here to enjoy this moment with me? And somehow you still have to find the emotions, somehow put them together and try to be present without missing that person that really want to be there with you. So I couldn't imagine what he was going through at that moment right now without his father being there. It was one of the classiest ways to exit the sport, I think. I mean, you have to go out on his high horse with the win, a very dominant win at that. So I think it was good in that sense. But man, there's a lot of, I can't imagine what he's going through. There's just a lot of emotion to kind of package all into one and go out there and perform the way he did.
Yeah. And what do you think Gaethje's feeling right now?
It's funny, you hear Gaethje's post-fight interviews. He's ready to go again. In his mind, he's like,
Yeah.
I got choked out. I didn't get knocked out, so I'm ready to fight in 6 to 8 weeks. So I can guarantee you, Gaethje should be in the gym on Tuesday, sparring with us again. Looking forward to get ready to get back in that cage for years over with.
I believe it and I respect it, but I've gotten to know you guys too well to believe that he's totally okay and it was like no big deal. He's going through something right now, that was like the biggest moment of his career and he came up a little short and I think he's going to do fantastic. I think he's going to kill it and he already has, but it's still a moment, you go home and you once you get away from all the noise, he's going to sit with that, right?
Yeah, it definitely is going to bother you for a bit, but it's kind of go through a breakup. I mean, when you go through a breakup, most people are just like, oh, I miss this person so much. And as soon as a new person comes along, you're just like, oh, who's that person I was crying over again?
Yeah.
Fighting a lot of times goes along the same way. I mean, a loss definitely does suck. You definitely go through some emotions there. But as soon as you get another fight scheduled, you just kind of start putting yourself together. It's like getting ready for that next fight. I mean, I can remember when I was on a 7-fight win streak, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. I'm going to beat Damian Maia. I'm going to fight for a title next. And then I lose to Damian Maia. I'm just like, man, this sucks. I was so close to, making this goal happen, make this dream happen. And here I am falling short of that goal. I came back to the gym immediately. I started training to try to get my mind back into the right place or whatever. And immediately after leaving that gym, I got a call from Joe Silva at the time that offered me a fight a week later. And I immediately jumped on it. Like, yes, absolutely, let me take it. And after taking that fight, it kind of helped me put my perspectives in order again. It helped me put things in the right places and shifted my focus. I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself and worry about how I came up short. At that point, I'm just like, well, here we go again. I have another fight ahead of me. I need to put everything in this fight and go out there and win again.
Learning your story too, you were on top, you went through that whole USADA thing, and then you were out for a year. now you're kind of like climbing your way back. And it's been, oddly enough, 2020 has been a really good year for you, minus not getting this last fight.
For sure. I mean, that's one of the things. You can never just like dwell too much on the past and sit in that dark spot. I mean, prior to a rough 2018 and in the year that I had in 2019, I mean, I was sitting at number 7 in the rankings and that kind of thing. And life kind of played out the way that it did. And I fell off the rankings. I didn't compete for a year. But here I am in 2020, 3-fight win streak, sitting at number 8, very close to where I was before all this went down to begin with, and able to make that run toward the title again. So, for me, just I just kind of take advantage of those moments to really kind of sit back and look at what lesson is there to learn in this whole process. I mean, maybe I need to discover patience. Maybe I need to discover just like being able to take advantage of the present and be present with the people that are around you, and that kind of thing. I don't know what the lesson was, but being present in the moment, being able to find the good in whatever situation was thrown my way, seems to be what keeps me going and carries me through. And here I am, just making another run towards the top.
Talk to me about your desire to fight Khamzat.
And honestly, like at the end of the day, like it's not even Khamzat at this point. I just have a burning desire to fight everyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like like at this point in this game, I'm 33 years old. I have 5, maybe 6 years left in the sport max, where I can go out there and compete with the best of them in the world. So I don't have 6 months to sit on the shelf and wait for an ideal opponent or an ideal opportunity. I have to go out there and create that. And Khamzat was what I thought was a great opportunity to do that. I mean, you have guys like Leon Edwards, Steven Thompson, a couple other guys who were like, oh, no, I deserve to fight this person. I deserve to fight that person. And some of the guys who were itching to get to that top of the division were kind of stuck on the sidelines waiting for it. So when the opportunity came along to fight a guy like Khamzat, who the UFC said everyone was turning him down and he was a big draw and everything was like that, I said, well, let me fight the guy. Like he's not that scary. He hasn't proven himself yet. And one or two things are gonna happen. One, he's either gonna be one of the best to ever do this in the sport, or he's gonna be a guy who wasn't quite ready to go out there and compete against the best in the world yet. And he'll eventually get his time, but at the moment that wouldn't be it. But I wasn't afraid for either one of those things to happen. I was just like, let me go out there, let me fight Khamzat, let me see what the hype is all about, and let me go out there and do my thing. I for sure thought I was gonna get that fight. It's unfortunate Leon Edwards got it instead of me, but here we are, man. I wish those guys both the best, and I can't wait to see either one of them in the cage in the future.
See, you're such a good guy. I was going to ask you, like, what message do you have for Leon? What message do you have for Khamzat? But here you are being such a gentleman.
Well, it's like this is a face-to-face, like, rough sport. Like, there's no time for the tough talk. At least for me, there isn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of hate when guys start, like, pushing one another at the weigh-ins and all that other stuff. It's like, hey, tomorrow, guess what, tough guy? You get to get locked in the cage with this guy, and no one is going to stop you from beating this guy unless you're to the point of beating him unconscious. So, like, so why put all this, like, effort into, like, pretending to hate this guy ahead of it, or like in weigh-ins, anything like that, where the very next day or in a couple of weeks I get to do whatever I want in the cage against you, and no one's going to stop me unless you're on a verge of, like I said, losing consciousness. So I have no hard feelings for the guys. Like, I can actually accept it for what it is. I wish both those guys the best. I hope they don't get beat up too bad, and one of them are ready to fight as soon as possible.
And this just kind of occurred to me as I was watching the fights today. Now, I've interviewed guys where they refer to fights they're proud of because they were on such a big card. Like the people on this morning's card will likely be very proud to have been a part of it. However, and this is like, I have no idea, I haven't looked at the numbers. It's my impression is that when you're on a card like this, all the attention goes to the main event. So the early prelims and the prelims kind of get like glazed over, especially when they start at, 8 a.m. my time. So do you think that's true? Do you think that when people start on the undercards during events that maybe don't have huge headliners, that they get more love?
100%. I mean, I feel like that's the time for you to go out there and really just like let it all hang. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's ever a moment in combat sports where you can like take risk, which some people would deem unnecessary. I think a card like tonight would be that opportunity to do so. I mean, it was an awkward broadcasting time where the main card started like 10 a.m. Pacific time, whatever it was. and some of the earlier fights started like 7 a.m. So like a lot of people probably didn't get to watch those fights live, but if somebody went out there and put on a performance that was memorable or was amazing, that fight's gonna get replayed over and over and over several times throughout that broadcast, especially if they're trying to like fill space in between other cards. So like for me, I kind of like that kind of pressure. I kind of like the stage being set so high because it kind of gives you opportunity. Like, all right, I'm gonna steal the show now. I'm gonna go out there and like let people know why I should be higher up on the card or whatever it may be. So like I kind of thrive in that kind of atmosphere where the eyes aren't necessarily on me, but I have an opportunity to take the eyes over. So for a lot of the young fighters did that tonight. I mean, we had the young lady, I think her last name is Maverick or something like that. She went out there and just dominated that fight, and like all over Instagram and all and Twitter, all I can see is that elbow cracking the other girl in the nose over and over and over again. So she went out there and took advantage of a big stage and made a name for herself. And that's what the sport is all about. I mean, you never know what fights can be that fight that turns into a superstar. I mean, Masvidal was a great example of that. I mean, prior to the Darren Till fight, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, considering like, oh man, maybe I hung around too long. Maybe it's time for me to move on to other things. And he goes out there and has amazing fight against Darren Till, turns around and knocks out Ben Askren, and now he's one of the biggest stars in MMA. Not just MMA, but in combat sports in general, whether it's boxing, MMA, or kickboxing. So you just never know when your opportunity is going to be. So why not go out there and give it your all, especially when the stage is set so high like it was tonight or this afternoon.
So who are you calling out next? You're like, I'll take anyone.
Everybody. Chiesa, Wonder Boy, like literally everybody. Like I'm just tired of the welterweight division being so stagnant. I mean, let's keep this thing moving. I mean, if Damian Maia was to have a retirement fight against me, let me fight Damian Maia. I'm just ready to fight somebody soon. I mean, like, it does me no good to sit around on the shelf for 6 months waiting for the next big fight. I'm ready to go out there and create a big opportunity for myself. And the only way I know how to do that is by fighting. So give me somebody to go out there and set the stage against.
God, I love the hunger. I mean, you're on Dana's radar for sure. You know, I got the impression that you were going to get this last fight when I saw him talking about you, but you know.
Oh, that was such a bummer. Like as far as I knew on Thursday, I had the fight. They're like, hey Neil, this fight is secured. It's yours. You're good to go. And I was like, hell yeah, this fight's about to happen. And literally the next day, I'm leaving the gym and I'm like getting all these notifications. Like, man, what the heck is going on? Maybe they released that I'm fighting and I can talk about it now. And I see that Leon Edwards got the fight. I'm just like, wait, what? Where did he come from? How did he get this fight? So, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I wish both guys the best. I just hope that the rest of the division can keep moving forward and I get somebody ASAP.
That was confusing to me. And it made me feel like that whole, like, oh, he's being removed from the rankings was like a ploy to kind of garner interest and then plug him in for the fight, you know, because so much as I learn about the sport and the UFC and I'm sure, you know, all promotions do it, but it's hype. That's why Conor is Conor, you know, it's all,
for sure.
Yeah, it's all hype.
No, and it's one of the things that this fight opportunity has taught me as well. Like I spent the last 15 years of my life trying to become one of the best mixed martial artists that are out there. One thing I never focused on was like, all right, what about the media presentation of myself? What about the persona that I give out to the fans? What about everything else that I do outside of the cage that makes people want to tune in to watch me fight? And I never gave that stuff much attention. I was always so worried about like being one of the best out there that I just never worried about like the marketability side of things. So now that things are playing out the way that they are, that has been something that's put on my radar now, and that definitely is an area that I see I can have some improvements in. And going into this fight with Khamzat initially, that started to gear me towards that direction as far as like presenting a little bit more of myself out there to the media and to the public in order to make myself more marketable for those bigger fights. And moving forward, that's something I'm going to have to do in this sport. I mean, no offense to Leon Edwards, but I don't want to find myself in a position like him to be on an 8-fight winning streak, but yet still have to fight a guy who's unranked in order to try to make a name for himself. I'd much rather put in that work now and not only win my fights, but do the work outside the cage to make my fights a little bit more marketable and get those top fights that I'm looking for.
I love it. I just want to point out, guys, that that glove right there is from Neil Magny, and I have your headshot too, and the beautiful message you wrote me. And hey, I thank you for the support. You know, things are moving and shaking for me on my end. I'm talking to some TV people, so who knows or the wind will blow for me, but you will always be welcome wherever I go.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming on. And we should do this more often. Like anytime you have something on your mind and want to talk about it. I'm doing a bunch of new clips, you know, for social, for YouTube. So don't be a stranger.
Okay, for sure. And I definitely have to set up a better studio than the rental car thing that we have here.
And if you're ever in LA, just give me a little heads up. You can come be a guest here.
Okay, cool. Definitely. Definitely take advantage of that.
All right, cool. Well, good luck to you and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one.